I'm here to talk about HDR using that function. I'm not an expert, but it's a great way to improve photos. I'm working with Photoshop CS6. I'm working on a PC. This will work with previous and newer versions. I have this photo here. As you can see, the exposure for the background is really good. The people, especially this gentleman here, is dark. You can't really see the face too good here. I'm going to go into Image. I'm going to go into Adjustments, HDR Toning. You get this here showing up. It looks pretty gross right now. You have presets here that you can work with. I could go into monochromatic. I'm just showing you a couple of things here. Sometimes I say flat. I could go into photorealistic. And then I will do one other one here, surrealistic. You might want that effect for some reason, but what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go back to default. And you have these items here that you can click on. You can do other enhancements when you're done. So I'm working with this thing here, and I tend to work back and forth. You're not going to get this all done in a couple of seconds here. I'm not going to get perfect results. I'm going on to strength here. You got the preview here. I can shut that off. And I'm getting more detail on the people. The background is looking a little bit too, what's the word, garish. But we're going to get that tone down. You got tone and detail. You go over here, and if I just drag them over here, and a lot of times you just stay within the middle. It depends on the picture. So I've got more detail in the people. We look good, okay? Even the door. Background, a little garish. Exposure, that's darker. I'm just dragging this dramatically here. You could also type in the numbers here. And I'm just going to reduce the exposure just a little bit. I shut off the preview, go back and forth. I kind of like that detail. And then if I go over here, I can make it look super real. Okay? Not bad, but let's tone it down. So you got that. You got shadow. I just pull this over. It depends on, but you're seeing how you're losing the shadows in him. So I'm going to leave it kind of towards the middle here. Highlight. A little too bright. This is dull. So we pull it over. Vibrance. That increases literally the vibrance, the color, how bright it is. And if I go over here, it's garish. I go over here. Sometimes I like to pull things back just a little bit. I'm personally into subtle. Some of you may be in here. I got the saturation. If I go over here, it's almost monochrome. It's really good if you want to create what I would call a retro look, like an antique photo. I go over here. I can increase the color just a little more. I don't want that lawn so bright. But if I go over here, that looks good. I click on the check for the preview. Before, after. Before, after. And I would think you would agree you like this here. I'm going to say okay. What you can also do, and I'm just going to throw this in briefly here, you could deal with adjustment layers here. Like if I go into a vibrance thing here, I can pull this over just a little more, a little more. That's too much saturation here. And then if I don't like it, I click on that. I kind of like that. And then let's say I want to work with the RGB. I go into here, levels, and what I want to do here, I want to work with the green level. I click on the green, and then I can pull this to the right. Ooh, that's too green. But you can occasionally work with that histogram here, and I just go over a little bit more here, on, off. That looks a little more subtle that way. So what we've had in the original one is now much better. Hopefully you will agree with this. Other thing too, I will say, if you work with a multi-layer document, when you do this HDR, it flattens it. I would suggest if you have a multiple layer document that you make a copy of the file and then do your HDR experimentation to see how it goes. Good luck.